This is part 2 of the $300 service on the $30 bike. It's going to be just a quick video, hopefully, just to show the before and afters of the parts cleaning. So this is the freewheel. I took it off in between videos. It's very rusted, but serviceable. And then just a bunch of miscellaneous parts. I don't know if this angle is doing it any justice, but a lot of these little parts are just caked in rust, along with the derailleur on the springs. Kind of see it in there. It's like basically red. Same thing here on the front. So typically what I do is I will do a bath just in hot water and like a car wash solution that's designed for the road grime and stuff like that. And then once I do that, I will use either vinegar, or if it's really bad, evaporust. Typically use vinegar because it's cheaper, but the evaporust is really good too. So I'm going to throw these in, do one cycle, and then we'll take a look at them, and then decide where to go from there. All right, so it's been about 11 minutes. It's a 30-minute cycle. I'm going to show you. Vinegar just took all that rust off. It's really hard to believe this was, and you can still see some rust on there, that freewheel that we put in 11 minutes ago. The hardware, let's see here, some of it's better. I think some of it's just, you see the difference in these two. The lighting is not that great. I'll go over here maybe. And put these back in. The little accessory bolts. Haven't had much change either. But yeah, this freewheel is just amazing. So we'll put this back in, and then I think while we do it, we'll put the derailleurs in too, so try and get some light on it again. Those jockey wheels don't have any bearings. It's just a bushing, so we can throw those in. You got to be careful. If they are sealed, you don't want to throw it in, obviously. So we'll put those in, put those back, and then probably later in this video, because this one will be pretty short, I'll show you how to open this up, and then we'll re-grease it. All right, so it's been more than the remaining time. So it was like 20 minutes, plus it's been just soaking for, I don't know, probably another 15. You can see, looks a lot better. Again, I don't think this light is doing it justice, but blow it off there. So I got a lot of that rust off. Pull this one out. You can see definitely made a difference on this spring here. So it's looking a lot better. Check the hardware. I'm not really hopeful, just because the rust is really bad on it. Had to stop for a second. My wife came out. Oops. So it's getting better. You can still see. Trying to put these two down side by side. Still a lot on a few of these, but not nearly as bad as it was. So I think what I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to get a small, probably like a solo cup or something, and I'm going to let these sit in the evaporust to show you the difference of that chemical versus just the vinegar, which is an outstanding job on these. So I'm going to put those in, let them soak, and then I'm going to start the freewheel rebuild. And this is the evaporust. This is a 1 gallon. You get it on Amazon. I swear the price keeps going up. It's like $20-something. So you want to definitely take care of it. And what I mean by take care of it is, as you use it and it gets dirty, put it into another container. So I start with one, and I'll show you I'll put this into a fresh cup. You'll see how clear it is. And then in the end, it starts getting foggy and the rust particles come off of it. But it still has some life. It's just not as potent. So as that happens, I transfer it to another jug so that I can keep the clean and the dirty separated. And then I just use this for more of like overnight soaks, or for parts that are just really bad, get those cleaned up, and then use the newer, more concentrate. So we get that going now. All right, so it's been a few hours. This is what the evaporust looks like when it's new. It is a little cloudy because I just pulled the parts out of it, but it did an amazing job. You can still see some pitting where the rust was eating through, but in terms of just the aesthetics of it, yeah, you can't really beat that. Freewheel's still looking good. I just put some WD-40 on it just to keep the rust from coming back. But the rest of the parts look really good as well. So I'm gonna get this opened up and then we will re-grease it. All right, so it's time to take the freewheel apart. And what I wanted to show, bring it up here, is you can see these two little dimples. Now there's tools where it's called a spanner wrench, where you can put it in and you can get leverage to try and pull this cap off, and it's opposite. So when I say opposite, is we need to turn it right to actually loosen it. So you can see when I try to do that, it's spinning. So how the hell do you get it off? You could hold it in the back. You could get a insert, hold that with a wrench. But what most people do, and what I do, is they just use the wheel. You mount it back on the wheel, and then I'm going to take a flathead or a small punch if you have one, and then you're going to take a hammer and just start loosening it. And you don't want to take it all the way off. If you take it all the way off, you're probably going to drop a bunch of the ball bearings. And there's a lot of them. There's going to be a lot up here there's a race right up at the top here, and then there's one down along the bottom, which has the majority of them. And then you also see the pawls and the ratcheting mechanism in there. So I'm going to grab here a little bit of grease. This will help it coming off later, but it's also just a good practice in general is whenever you reinstall a freewheel. Let me get this straight up here. Don't want to cross thread it. It's always good practice to have that grease on there because it'll come off easier later. So I am going to grab a very small flathead, and I'm going to try and do this. Move the camera back. I'm going to try and do this so you can see what's happening, but you might not be able to see all of it. So let me get it in there, and let me get the hole oriented to where I need it. Go. This one didn't take much convincing. And the reason, there you go, that should be loose enough for us to work with it on the bench. The reason that one wasn't as difficult is because it went through the ultrasonic cleaner. And we got a lot of the rust and everything else that was in the threads. We already took it out. So what you can do now is very carefully remove it. And I'm going to keep a little bit of upwards pressure by putting my pinky behind it. I want to keep it as intact as possible. I think there's still enough turns left on the locker ring. But just so that we don't lose any ball bearings, I'm going to put it up here on the bench. Move this out of the way. Get this all reoriented. All right. And go up a little higher. Let's see. maybe something like this, and then we'll zoom in. We'll zoom in. There we go. Probably been worse camera angles out there. So move it up here. And then I'm going to finish loosening the top. And I want to keep the top and the bottom ball bearings separate. So I am holding up, putting my finger in, grabbing the underside, trying to watch the camera while I do this, grabbing the underside, and then I'm going to turn it so that I can get all those ball bearings, and I'm going to put them over here by the lock ring. Now I have a magnetic tray, but I'm using it for something else right now, or else I'd put these in there. So I'm going to keep all these ball bearings over on one side, which is in the back, and of course you can't see it off camera. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the case off and make sure there's no ball bearings in there. This could go for a scrub again, because the inside looks a bit rusted out. And in fact, I think we need to just run this, the guts of it, through the ultrasonic cleaner again, because look at how bad this is. So I think that's what we're going to do. I say we just put these in separately. That way we can get all this rust off. So let's do that, and then we'll continue. All right, so ran them through. Pull this up here. It's way better. Pawls. It's right here. These are the little pawls. Actually, I think I said I would explain how it works. When you pedal, let me make sure I don't screw these up. Let's keep that separated. As you pedal, those pawls swing out and they grab the inside right there. You see where all those cuts are, and that's what propels you forward. And then when you coast or you pedal backwards, the pawls are pushed in. So imagine this getting pushed down, and that's where you hear it clicking, click, 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 and that's both of them going. And then when it engages, again, it catches it forward, and that's what pushes you. So those two little pawls are what move you. Different designs for different companies and styles too, obviously. But anyways, all right, so I put those through. I also put the balls into there's a little mesh container, and then I ran that through with it. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our grease gun, make sure it's primed, and I think I need to reload it before tomorrow. We're going to put a bead of grease all the way around, and then I'm going to pick these up and put them on. And that grease is going to hold it in place. Then what we're going to do is carefully reassemble it. And this is the part where, typically balls will fall out or move around, so it might take a few tries. But once those are in, let's see, try to even just do this dry. It's a little difficult. Once those are in, then what we'll do is we'll put grease in here, put the top balls back in, put the lock ring in. We'll reverse using the hammer and the screwdriver to lock it as best we can, and that'll be it. So get that going here. Now I will say, if this is going to be, your long-term bike or some other type of bike where you yourself want to put more money into it, because remember, I'm doing this just as a hobby. I'm doing this to give back. If you didn't watch the first video, I talked a little bit about how I've lost about 100 pounds biking, and now doing triathlons and stuff. But if this was my bike, I would just go and buy a new freewheel. They're really not that expensive. But I'm rolling over all the profit. Hopefully there is profit from each bike into the next. And, $10, $20, depending on what the going rate is, that might push you either way in terms of making money or, it not being worth your while. So I usually, where possible, I rebuild them. And honestly, it really doesn't take that long. The longest part out of most of the entire process is just the tear down, which was the first video. The cleaning, because I only have one ultrasonic cleaner. If I had multiple, then it wouldn't be as bad. But that's also an added expense, and I gotta maintain it and make space for it here. So those parts really take the longest. To the reassembly, which depending on how tomorrow morning goes, I might do before everybody gets up. Though that could take a couple hours. Depends on if there's any issues with like the brakes, or sometimes the wheels are out of alignment, or not out of alignment. They're not true. I really didn't spin these to see. I usually just wait till the end to do it. The wheels and the spokes in general look to be in really good shape, so I'm hopeful. It's going to be some minor adjustments, if anything. So, like I said, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the majority of the time is just waiting for the ultrasonic cleaner to finish. And what I typically do while that's going is I'll work on some other aspect of the bike, like the wheels, getting them all re-greased as well. So depending on how that goes tomorrow, I think at least the front needs to be done. We'll show how to tear those down. It's the same process. It's all like rinse and repeat. Take it off, clean the bearings, clean the races, and then put it all back together. So, all right. So there's no more bearings for the bottom. Just feel around, nothing there. I'm gonna very carefully set the top down, and as I do it, I'm gonna give it a little spin. And there we go. And what I'm trying to do is get those pawls to move back slightly and fall into one of the channels. I'm going to lift up here. I'm going to check. No bearings here. No bearings from the bottom are left. So far, so good. Now what we're going to do, and this part's definitely easier, is I'm just going to pump in some grease. And like I was saying in the other video, love-hate relationship with this grease gun. Sometimes it works flawlessly for weeks, and then there's other times where I just want to throw it away and order another one. So, anyways, all right. So I'm gonna just start putting the balls in. This is less exact as compared to the bottom, simply because the channel and everything's gonna hold it in here, or the race, I should say. And I'll be able to just use like a pick, or the flathead, just to gently move them around and distribute them. And then when we tighten it with that lock ring, that's actually going to help everything settle. And as it gets towards the end of the threads there, everything just forces its way in. I mean, everything just starts moving around. So I'm actually just going to use, I have these needle nose right here. Start pushing them down, just equally going. There's a good argument too, about your time spent doing this versus just buying a new one. And it kind of just goes back to my entire philosophy on this whole bike service and rebuild is I want to do something with my hands. So yes, I could buy one, but I'd rather just rebuild one, quite honestly. So what I'm doing here is I'm just tightening down that lock ring and give it a spin. It's going to be pretty stiff when you first do it. mainly because you got to work all that grease around. So what you can do, what I typically do, pull it out here, is I also prime it with some dry lubricant. So I have a little bit of a pool up there, and just start working it around, kind of giving a little bit of tilt every now and again to help it flow through. And you hear it starting to loosen up. You could, well, I could feel it. I'm going to do the same thing, let it flow for a second into the bottom. So in between the shell here. So, and that'll just get better with time too. I should have mentioned earlier too, I put a little bit of dry lubricant on the pawls between the video. You're supposed to use a really thin oil if you have it. But just like my grease and everything else in general, I've never really had an issue with it. By the time there is going to be an issue with it, you're probably just going to replace the freewheel anyways. But that's if there is one. So that's how you rebuild the freewheel. Tomorrow we'll put the bike back together. That'll be part 3. So hope you enjoyed and hope you learned something.